U.S. importers paying double what they were in May. But we've got this new phase of the back and forth now. As we head into 2019, are we set up where the U.S. is in position to feel more pain than we have in the past and lose leverage? Or are the signs over the past couple weeks really encouraging?
Well, the trade war is not going particularly well for either country. Chinese imports of U.S. goods way down since June, particularly oil, agricultural products. Russia's been a big beneficiary of this shift. But I think we may be at a low point. China's clearly willing to make some significant concessions on tariffs. They're willing to make some rhetorical concessions on the so-called 2025 industrial policy. I think the big question going into 2019 is where the president's mindset is going to be in February. If the stock market's still in the doldrums, if the housing market's still flashing recessionary signals, I think he may want to take this off the front pages.
Jeff, does the president want, you think, a quick win here? Is that sort of how things are aligned? Or is there more advantage in pressing China as hard as possible and maintaining that harder line? Sounds like maybe Jeff doesn't hear me, have audio, so I'll pose that question to you. He does now. Jeff, I'll ask again, does the Trump administration, does the president, you think, have a strong incentive to actually get a deal done early in 2019, or is there more incentive to just kind of maintain this harder line as the 2020 campaign season starts to actually kick off?
From an economic perspective, he very much has an incentive to resolve this. This is hurting business. Business opposes these tariffs, and they would like to see this come to a conclusion. From a political perspective, however, I think this is a very live campaign issue that he uses very much to his advantage, and he may want to carry into the 2020 election. I think he's guided more by politics, and so that's why I'm not optimistic of a near-term resolution.
Ben, you said a key word, and that was rhetorical when talking about changes for the Made in China 2025. We just heard those comments from Peter Navarro. What do you mean by rhetorical, and is that actually going to be enough to actually see a longer-term trade deal take place?
Well, this 2025 industrial policy vision that China has, this is really fundamental to China's new nationalist vision of its role in the world, and they're not willing to jettison that. But they are willing to give the president some rhetorical morsels to allow him to declare victory. The president did that with NAFTA. He did that with North Korea. And I think President Xi is thinking, why won't he do that with us as well?
Hey, Jeff, we're going to get a view as to how the Chinese think about the tools in their toolbox. They've got a big economic forum this week. Are they going to lower targets on their own 2019 growth? And to what degree could they, say, pass a big tax cut on their own consumers?
I think they very may lower the economic target from, say, 6.5 to closer to 6.0. And it does appear that they may introduce some kind of stimulus in order to juice up the economy a little bit, because things do seem to be trending downward.
Ben, when you think about the importance of China as a political issue, to what extent is toughness in China important, particularly in kind of must-win or battleground states, versus how much are things like soybeans the more important factor? Because, I mean, different things play to different sort of subgroups within the same base.
I think the president's going to want to take some of this off the table. For example, he needs a real win with the agricultural heartland of the United States, but he's not going to eliminate all the tariffs. He needs to come into 2020 saying, I'm going to continue to be tough with China, particularly since China will still not acknowledge IP theft, forced technology transfer. So he's going to have to keep some of that in reserve.